Cent Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Matthew, and Rizzle and I are back with another special interview on the Cent Podcast. We're stoked to bring you our interview with James, who's leading the charge and organizing the next Rare Art Festival, which is set to take place May 14th through the 17th. We were able to talk to James about the background of the Rare Arts Festival, how James himself was ultimately able to take over after the founders of the event went on to do other things, the intent behind the Rare Arts Festival to educate, spur on creativity and adoption within the rare digital art space. We talked about what it's like to transition a in real life event into a virtual setting, since the next Rare Arts Festival will be held in Cryptovoxels. We also got into some of the details of the next event, like some of the cool elements that they're incorporating, such as the sandbox mode in Cryptovoxels, a story mode, and some of the 50 plus speakers that are slated to talk. It was an awesome chat. It was a cool glimpse into what it's like to organize a virtual event. And I hope that all of you enjoy the conversation that Rizzle and I had with James. So without further ado, please enjoy that conversation with James from the Rare Arts Festival. Okay, we're live. This is Matthew, and I'm back with Rizzle for another special interview on the Cent Podcast. This week, we're really happy to be joined by James from the Rare Arts Festival, also known as RareAF. Welcome to the show, James.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and to get started, I was wondering if you could give us a little introduction about yourself.
Sure thing. Well, I've been floating around the crypto space for quite a while, a few years now, but currently working for Enigma, and we're building privacy solutions for blockchains. So it's kind of tangential yet relevant to the Rare Art Festival's focus, but I can dive into the origin story of RareAF because that's the most exciting stuff for this audience, I believe. And, I wasn't one of the organizers of the original Rare Art Festival, the OG RareAF, you may say. But I was there. It was kind of my first event in the crypto space. I had been learning and was working on a project that attempted to build a decentralized YouTube. And we can talk more about that if you want, but really just fascinated by all the creative applications of blockchain technology. And that led me to the Rare Art Festival in New York City. It was a gathering of like 150 people at this place called Rise in Manhattan. And it was really cool just to see how inviting and collaborative the community was. And it led to so many great friendships and opportunities for me. So I was really just blown away. And, there's a large group of people to name, to give credit to for that. First and foremost, Joe Looney, who's the creator of the Rare Pepe wallet. He put out a tweet, and that kind of started the whole thing. Within a few weeks, the Rare Art Festival was organized, but so many others, including the Rare Art Labs team, put a lot of work into planning that festival. And the next year, it was brought to my attention that RareAF 2 had to be canceled. The first one was just a few weeks after the all-time high of ETH, and there was kind of a downturn later that year, and the plans for the second Rare Art Festival in January of 2019 had to be postponed. So I was already planning a hackathon in coordination with the ETH New York team, which I was part of, and it was focused on NFTs. So it felt like a natural fit. I already had this Telegram group, and we just asked permission to use the RareAF name, and things took off from there. It was an experiment with decentralized governance. There was no single participant in charge, or it was a group effort, to say the least.
the history is really interesting. I had no idea that you kind of like took over from the original crew after that first RareAF. So at this point, if you had to summarize like the purpose, intent of RareAF, like what is it striving to do, either offline, like before COVID-19 and heading forward? I know that you guys are trying to do a virtual art festival. So like, what is the purpose and intent of it?
Well, we actually talked about this when we first decided to make RareAF2 happen. We had a meeting and we had these regular calls to coordinate. And on the first call, we decided our three goals, which are education, creativity, and adoption. You could say growth of the crypto art market or just NFTs in general.
That's cool. And then, well, I think it would be really interesting for folks to hear how a in real life meetup is on the fly pivoting towards a virtual meetup, which I've heard is in the works. It'd be awesome to hear everything from behind the scenes, like the initial reaction, like, oh man, we can't do this in real life this year. And then like everything that you've been doing leading up to the virtual event.
Yeah, so we've been planning RareAF3 for a while, and actually had the opportunity to use a gallery in Manhattan. It was owned by Portion, and they offered it for free, and it was going to be available for a month, which I thought was amazing. It would be a great opportunity to give artists more exposure and really achieve those goals we talked about. So that was our plan. However, we followed suit. All the NYC Blockchain Week events had to cancel because of the situation, and we didn't want to give up on the planning we'd already put into it, but also wanted to experiment with virtual venues. We love Cryptovoxels and other platforms like Decentraland, Sandbox, Somnium, you name it. There's a lot of cool stuff happening outside of crypto art that we hope to include. And part of the goal is to kind of blur the distinction of crypto art and the real art world. It's part of adoption, I think, just making it one and the same. So that led to the virtual art festival is what we're calling it, but you can say VRAF, and the R either stands for reality or rare, depending on your preference. It's up to you. And it's planned for May 14th to 17th, and we've got a bunch of stuff happening on Cryptovoxels, along with a series of talks and some other fun activities that will be surprises. But yeah, I'm happy to dive into any part of it.
Yeah, man. I would love to hear what you guys have planned. Was there like was the idea of trying to push the whole thing virtual this year, was that like a obvious choice for people like who are on board and planning with you, or was there like some resistance to that? Or because the two spaces do seem like inherently connected to me, but we're like way down the rabbit hole and everything, and you guys seem to have a crowd that is not necessarily needs to be crypto native with the events that you've been putting on and everything. So yeah, curious to know like what some of the background conversations were like. Were people excited about this concept, or people skeptical? What's the vibe that you're seeing?
Well, I think my challenge has been leading the coordination while maintaining the commitment to our decentralized ethos, if you will. People don't want to change how the original Rare Art Festival meant, to them. And I certainly wanted to maintain that as well. So I think that's part of the challenge, is just balancing the decentralization with actual coordination. But everyone's really excited about the virtual reality, possibilities. The metaverse is a hot topic, and everyone's looking for ways to contribute. It's been really cool to see people, in their quarantines all over the world, figuring out ways to help make this happen. And it's really, I would want to give opportunities for so many people to represent what we're doing, not just myself, but one thing which was a catalyst for all this was collaborating with you, Rizzle, and I'm blown away by the stuff you're doing in Cryptovoxels, Origin City, like the WIP meetups, testing the limits and bringing people together is what it's all about. So I'm really excited to keep collaborating and learning from your team and community. So that was really helpful. And, there's a bunch of other people who kind of like came out of the woodwork, and it's a evolving community. It's growing, and there's a lot of cool projects now that, we didn't have at the first RareAF festival. So it's kind of amazing how the space has changed over time, but remained true to the original vision for a more connected world. And the collaboration is the most fun thing for me. I think seeing people make stuff happen together is the purpose of blockchain in general. Like, with accountability and greater transparency, you facilitate coordination around shared goals. And that's part of crypto art. It's part of most applications that I see for this technology.
Totally. Yeah, you said a lot of words that I really like, from collaboration all the way over to community. I mean, putting on these WIP meetups and CV, just the community aspect, outside of like all the logistical, technical, and organizational challenges has been just so awesome and rewarding. But I really want to hear some of these secrets and surprises that you have planned in the virtual meetup. Like Rizzle, myself, the whole Token Smart crew, like we're constantly like thinking about like extra bells and whistles that we can add to these WIP meetups in CV as we build out like our platform for these meetups and then in the future conferences. So Dish, man, what are these surprises that you have planned?
Well, I'll start by saying we're inspired by a variety of events that have been going on, such as Citadel 6.15 and the Gangnam Art meetups on a weekly basis, along with the WIP meetup and others. But yeah, we're planning some interesting stuff. Our approach was to kind of keep it simple and include as many Cryptovoxels buildings as possible. So it's not focused on a set of parcels, but rather uniting the whole Cryptovoxels community, and we're promoting every building that wants to be involved. So there's a ton of stuff. People are getting ready for that weekend, May 14th to 17th, and some people already have amazing buildings to show off, and they don't have to do much, but others have put work into special exhibits, and that's just one piece of it. We've got I've talked to over 50 potential speakers who are interested and tentatively confirmed to give 5 to 10 minute talks on the topic of their choice, and we're open to anyone. That's one of the cool things about these virtual events, is there's not as much of a limitation around scheduling and just like being at the physical venue in New York City. And we're encouraging speakers to use their language of choice, which I think will be interesting, and moving toward that that goal of inclusivity and really fostering an international community. And more specifically, I've been working with my brother on a game. It's kind of like a choose your own experience type of thing where it's gonna provide structure to the whole festival. Not everything, but it's a way to kind of contextualize what we're doing.
I'm sorry, man. Help me understand. I love the type of games and puzzles things that you're talking about. Help me understand how that relates to the festival itself. Is it just sort of its own thing for people to tinker around with, or is it some way wrapped into various experiences in the festival?
Well, it's we've had a lot of crazy ideas, and we want to keep it practical, but the follow-up that I did for Christmas involved Cryptovoxels, and my friend Ilan Katan made a beautiful crater on the moon in my parcel. So it starts there at the crater, and it's going to involve the art teleport wall, which was made by his wife Lenara, and it's also in the Moon District of Cryptovoxels. So maybe that helps put it in the context of the virtual art festival, but it's also going to live off Cryptovoxels. It'll mostly be written content that you navigate through, and some of it will bring you back to the Cryptovoxels world, but it's really just a fun story that I hope will just be one contribution of the many that people enjoy that weekend.
Dude, this to me it sounds like if I'm like trying to think of what this festival looks like, to me it almost sounds like this is like the Burning Man of like virtual arts festivals. You guys got
Nice.
like all of the platforms like are open to all the platforms, are open to all the people. You're willing to accept any speakers in any language talking about whatever they want to do. Which is like awesome, man. I mean, I feel like that's sort of, not sort of, it's definitely like a different angle than a lot of the other, conferences that are going virtual are taking. Curious to know, like, is there any like one event or multiple events or like focal point of the, festival that either people are going to be really drawn to, or that you're really drawn to, or maybe there's not, or maybe the question is, are there any like overarching themes, or like when you think of like, what you're most excited for with the Rare Arts Festival or the virtual Rare Arts Festival, or what people are going to be the most excited for, what do you see in your head?
Well, I guess the main theme is intersection of virtual reality and art, specifically crypto art, but not necessarily. And we're focused on Cryptovoxels because it's been a hub for the crypto art community. But I've been talking to some other groups involved with different VR platforms, and you mentioned the Burning Man of virtual events. My friend Jin from Nifty's and the M3 collaborative.
Yeah, we know Jin, man.
Yeah,
Dude's like a celebrity in this space.
He's one of the biggest inspirations for this whole thing, and we didn't want to, like he's working on some cool stuff, and the timing seems to be right, and we're recording this as everything's still coming together. So hopefully there will be more than just Cryptovoxels involved in the virtual art festival. But yeah, like that's what we're going for, and there's a bunch of stuff. Like there's opportunities for speakers to give presentations on Cryptovoxels, or just at least on Zoom, live streamed via YouTube, maybe through Mozilla Hubs or something like that. I know that Ben Nolan has been experimenting with video embedding and stuff like that. It's possible that we can try something like that. There's so many possibilities, and like I'm not trying to handhold, and I don't even know a lot of the stuff. People are telling me, I've got this many parcels and I want to do something, and I say, great, like keep me in the loop if you want. I'm happy to brainstorm, and it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, just know it's happening that weekend.
Dude, I love your attitude of inclusivity, and I know you've that's the goal of this like whole event and everything. I also love that you're like down with our most like recent favorite sport of like attempting to break Cryptovoxels. It is really fun to like, every now and again take a crack at like how much they can handle. So I'm totally always up for experiments like that, and you've got our support, man. If anything we can lend you guys, from a spot in the amphitheater or the lounge, or hosting something or whatever, between Matthew and I and Token Smart and Sen, I'm sure we can continue to collaborate. But dude, you're being very diplomatic, and I know you need to be, but I'm trying to nail you down, man. Give me like one to three things that are occurring that weekend that, even no matter what technical stuff that you're having trouble doing, what are you going to drop everything and make sure you hit? Is there like a speaker or like an artist, or like you got to have like a couple things in the back of your head that you're like, okay, I'm definitely excited about everyone and everything in the whole event, but what are the like things you got to hit?
So I'm really excited about having a ton of 5 to 10 minute videos as a result that live on, beyond the weekend. And there's some really great speakers. Like, I'm still in the process. Like we've gotten basically confirmations, but there's a chance that some of them can't do it. So I don't want to like throw out names, but I mean, I've talked to every major crypto art platform, and there's been a representative available from almost every crypto art platform that I know, at least. So there's going to be stuff happening in all of the major art galleries and other buildings. And I'll throw out a tease, this is no pressure if this person doesn't want to do it, but I've asked Vlad Zamfir to define art in a presentation, which I'm particularly excited about. But yeah, I don't mean to be too diplomatic or whatever. I'm just still coordinating everything, and if Vlad doesn't follow through, then you can blame me. But yeah, he seemed down, and yeah, there's like I shared the list with you, Rizzle, and I can share it with anyone who wants to see the list of speakers and everyone I've reached out to. We've got over 50 people who've tentatively confirmed, so there's going to be a lot of stuff happening.
Dude, we always ask the people the same type of question before we wrap up. Curious what weird things you got going on in your crypto wallet. Are there any like side projects or like cool stuff you got in your wallet that you care to share?
That's a good question. It's kind of like two steps away from your question, but one of my proudest collection items is a gift from this guy named Simon de la Rouvier, who is inspirational for me in my initial exploration, and still continues to be an inspiration. He spoke at RareAF 2. and he gave me one of his generative art pieces, and it reminds me of his work called "This Artwork is Always on Sale." So I think that's kind of an interesting concept that it was started a while ago, but it's still going, and it's still generating revenue. So if you haven't checked it out, I'd recommend that. I've also got a bunch of pieces by the guy who made the RareAF 2 logo and won the RareAF design contest last year. His name's Mattia.
Mattia C?
Yeah, Catini, I guess. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and I think he deserves a shout out because he's always willing to help with logo design, and he's always looking for something to create, and he's a very collaborative person. Another is this guy named 0x Bull, who made the logo for RareAF 3. There's going to be more stuff to share, answering that question in a few weeks, hopefully. But yeah, I'm planning to support a variety of creators in this RareAF challenge, and I think it'll be a good way, probably more so than that choose your own experience game, but just something that solidifies the virtual art festival and really makes it similar to the Create-a-thon from last year. Not just like an opportunity for people to speak and congregate and learn and explore Cryptovoxels and other places in the metaverse, but yeah, the goal of that is to reward people for making cool stuff, and I'm excited about that.
Cool. Well, heading into the end of this podcast, it was awesome to talk with you, but I want to make sure that you let folks know the channels that they need to pay attention to in advance before the RareAF festival actually goes off. So let the folks know what channels they need to be following.
Sure. We're planning to get our website up this week, and so it'll be ready when this comes out. And you can follow us at Rare Art Fest on Twitter, and the Telegram group is also Rare Art Fest. If you want to get involved, there's plenty of room for all kinds of contributors, and we've got a huge list of speakers and parcel owners who are already involved, but the goal is to be inclusive, and that's why I say there's always room for more. And if you want to give a presentation, or if you have a parcel that you want to be featured, let me know, or let Rizzle know, or let anyone else know who's involved. And there's going to be opportunities to collaborate with everyone else who's participating in the festival.
Yeah. And well, thanks for coming on the show, James. It was definitely a pleasure to be able to take a peek inside what you're planning. I took a lot of notes, and I'm really excited to see it go off in a couple weeks. So, well, thank you again for your time, and looking forward to RareAF.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. It's Matthew again. I really hope you enjoyed our conversation with James as much as we did recording it. As always, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and recommend it to a friend whom you think would like these sorts of podcasts. Next week, look out for a conversation with Rizzle, myself, and Jim of NFT-42. We talk about all things NFTs, from Avastars to Infant NFT to Token Smart. It was a fun conversation. I know all of you will enjoy it. So in the meantime, I know the weather's getting pretty nice around the world. Hopefully the COVID-19 situation in your neck of the woods is improving. So keep staying safe, and I really hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side. So sent on.
Scent Podcast.